Hi, I'm Jessica, and lately, my life has been a bit of a roller coaster. Honestly, I never thought I'd be sharing all of this, but sometimes life throws surprises your way when you least expect it. I'm 31, and I work as a marketing executive. Up until recently, I thought I had everything pretty much under control. I married my college sweetheart, Noah, just over a year ago. We were on top of the world, and life seemed perfect. Not long after we got married, we found out I was pregnant. It was our little secret, and we were over the moon with happiness. I remember one evening when I just couldn't hold it in any longer. I turned to Noah and said, "Can you believe it? We're going to be parents." I could barely keep my excitement in check. Noah pulled me into a big hug, his eyes shining with joy. "I know, Jessica. It's amazing. But let's keep it quiet for now, at least until after the first trimester," he said gently, reminding me of the need to be cautious. I nodded, understanding, but keeping such a huge secret was harder than I'd imagined. The excitement was bubbling inside me, especially when we were around Noah's family. Oh, Noah's family. Let me give you a little picture of them. There's Lisa, my mother-in-law, who still believes her son needs constant care and mothering, even though he's an adult and married now. Then there's Terry, Noah's dad, who is about as involved in family matters as the armchair he sits in. And then there are Noah's siblings. His sister, Janet, looks at me like I somehow stole her most prized possession, and his brother, Brian, barely acknowledges my existence. Let's just say family gatherings are always an interesting experience. Take last Sunday's lunch, for example. We were all sitting down to eat when Lisa looked over at Noah and said, "Noah, honey, your shirt is wrinkled. Jessica, don't you know how to use an iron?" Her tone was sharp enough to cut through glass. I felt irritation rise in me, but I managed to keep my cool. "I'll make sure to double-check next time, Lisa," I replied, forcing a smile, even though my patience was running thin. Then Janet, always eager to jump in, added her 2 cents, smirking as she said, "Oh, Jessica, don't stress. Not everyone is cut out for homemaking." I could feel my blood pressure rise, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of reacting. I kept my smile steady, though I was definitely fuming on the inside. Later, when I finally got a moment to myself, I called my best friend, Olivia, to vent. "If Lisa makes one more comment about my housekeeping skills, I swear, I'm going to lose it," I said, pouring out my frustration. Olivia listened patiently, offering a mix of sympathy and laughter that helped me feel a little better. It's amazing what a good friend can do, even on the toughest days. So here I am, managing work, a new marriage, a big family, and now the news of a baby on the way. Life is definitely a whirlwind, but I'm learning to take it one day at a time, keeping my focus on the things that truly matter. I groaned into the phone as I told Olivia everything. She laughed on the other end, saying, "Girl, you married Noah, not his mother. You need to tell her to back off." I sighed, wishing it was that easy. "Noah hates conflict, and I don't want to start any family drama," I said. But honestly, sometimes it feels like I'm drowning in all their expectations. Olivia, always the practical one, said, "You've got to stand up for yourself, Jessica. Especially now, with a baby on the way." She was right, of course. But the thought of confronting Lisa and the rest of the family made my stomach turn. Or maybe it was just the morning sickness adding to my stress. Either way, I knew things couldn't go on like this forever. As the weeks went by, it became harder and harder to keep the pregnancy a secret. One night, as Noah and I lay in bed, he turned to me with a mix of excitement and nervousness in his eyes. "Jessica, I think it's time. Let's tell them about the baby at the family dinner next week," he said. He was looking at me, waiting for my reaction. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to keep our happy news to ourselves, away from Lisa's constant criticism and Janet's obvious jealousy. But I knew we couldn't keep this hidden forever. "Okay," I agreed, trying to sound braver than I felt. "Let's do it." Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that this announcement would change everything, for better or worse. I just didn't know how big of a change was coming. The day of the family dinner arrived, and I was a nervous wreck. I had spent hours cooking, hoping that maybe, just maybe, this time Lisa would be impressed. But that was wishful thinking. As soon as we sat down, Lisa commented, "Jessica, dear, the roast is a bit dry. Did you forget to baste it?" Her voice was syrupy sweet, but I could hear the criticism behind it. Forcing a smile, I replied, "I'll remember that for next time." But she wasn't done. "And that dress, is it new? It seems a bit tight, don't you think?" Her eyes lingered on my waist, clearly noticing the subtle changes in my body. I was about to respond when Noah cleared his throat. "Actually, Mom, we have some news," he said. This was it. I took a deep breath, giving him a small nod. "Jessica and I are having a baby," he announced, smiling. For a moment, the room fell silent. Then it erupted. "Oh, sweetie, that's wonderful," said Terry, Noah's dad, with a rare smile. Brian, Noah's brother, muttered a half-hearted congrats. Janet's face twisted with what I could only describe as jealousy. But it was Lisa's reaction that truly shocked me. "Are you sure, Noah?" she asked, her tone skeptical. "How do you know she's not lying?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Excuse me?" I said, my voice barely a whisper. Lisa continued, narrowing her eyes at me. "It just seems like convenient timing, doesn't it? Just as Noah's career is taking off." Noah looked genuinely confused. "What are you talking about, Mom?" he asked. Janet, always quick to add fuel to the fire, chimed in. "Remember, Jessica used to be so strict about birth control. Funny how things change, huh?" I felt my heart drop. This announcement was supposed to be a joyful moment for our family, a chance for everyone to share in our happiness. Instead, it had turned into a moment of judgment and suspicion. In that moment, I realized just how complicated this family really was and how challenging it would be to bring a child into this world surrounded by such distrust. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of my life. Noah and I had decided together, over a year ago, that we were ready to start a family. I felt the weight of their judgment crushing down on me, and I could hardly believe I was being questioned like this. "This is supposed to be good news," I said, looking at Noah, hoping he'd defend me. But he seemed hesitant, and I could see a flicker of doubt in his eyes. That hurt more than anything. Then Lisa, his mom, stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "If you're really pregnant, prove it," she said coldly. "Prove it," I echoed, my voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "What do you want me to do? Take a test right here in front of everyone?" Lisa rolled her eyes. "Don't be so dramatic, Jessica. A proper blood test will do," she snapped. I turned to Noah, hoping he'd step in and stop this madness, but he looked conflicted, glancing between his mother and me. Then, to my shock, he said softly, maybe it's not a bad idea, Jessica. Just to put everyone's minds at ease." My heart felt like it had shattered into pieces. How could he even consider this? How could he question me like this? I took a deep breath, my world spinning. "This is insane. I'm leaving," I said, turning to go. But Lisa moved in front of me, blocking my way. "Not so fast. If you walk out that door, we'll all know you're lying," she sneered. "Get out of my way, Lisa," I said firmly, trying to push past her. But then everything happened so fast, and yet it felt like slow motion. Lisa suddenly shoved me, her hands pushing me backward. I stumbled, trying desperately to regain my balance. I saw Brian, Noah's brother, reaching out, trying to catch me, but it was too late. I fell backward, tumbling down the stairs. Everything went black. When I finally came to, I was lying on a stretcher in an ambulance, tears streaming down my face as the memories replayed in my mind. Lisa's harsh face, Janet's smug look, Noah's silence, and Brian's desperate attempt to grab my arm. My mind was spinning with one terrifying question. Would my baby be okay? The ambulance sped to the hospital, and soon, I was surrounded by doctors and nurses. Their voices were a blur as they moved around me, checking my vitals and asking questions. All I could focus on was my overwhelming fear for my baby. I blinked awake later to the steady beep of monitors. A doctor was standing beside my bed, smiling gently. Mrs. Thompson, you're awake. Good news, the baby is safe. You're both going to be okay, he said softly. A wave of relief washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by anger and hurt. How could this have happened? How could Noah's family doubt me? And worse, how could Noah himself have doubted me? I knew that things could never go back to the way they were. As I lay there, recovering, one thought filled my mind. I had to protect my baby, no matter what. And I wasn't sure if I could ever truly trust Noah or his family again. I remembered why I was there, lying in the hospital bed. Noah stood nearby, looking pale and unsure. Jessica, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, he began, but I cut him off, feeling anger rising inside me. What happened? I said, my voice shaking. Your mother pushed me down the stairs. That's what happened. Noah flinched, looking uncomfortable. Mom says it was an accident, he murmured. She was just trying to stop you from leaving. Before I could reply, Olivia burst into the room, full of energy and worry. Jessica. Oh my God, are you okay? She asked, rushing to my side. Then she turned to Noah, her eyes fierce. And you? How could you let this happen? Noah stammered, trying to explain, but Olivia wasn't having it. Save it, she snapped, cutting him off, then turned back to me, her voice soft. I'm here now, Jessica. Whatever you need. When Noah finally left the room to take a break, I filled Olivia in on everything that had happened. Her expression grew angrier with each word I said. We're not letting them get away with this, she said firmly. Just then, we heard familiar voices out in the hallway. It was Lisa and Janet, talking just loud enough to catch bits of their conversation. We just need to convince Noah it was an accident, Lisa was saying. Jessica has always been clumsy anyway. She's probably faking this pregnancy. Olivia's eyes widened. Without a word, she pulled out her phone and began recording the conversation as their voices faded down the hall. I felt something harden inside me. I was done being pushed around. Olivia, I whispered, I need your help. We're going to fight back. Over the next few hours, we made a plan. Olivia managed to talk a nurse into giving us copies of my medical records, which clearly showed proof of my pregnancy and my injuries from the fall, evidence of what had really happened. We should get statements from the hospital staff, too, Olivia suggested. They can confirm the condition you were in when you arrived. I nodded but hesitated. What about Noah? I asked. He's been texting me, but it's clear he believes his mom's story. Forward me the messages, Olivia said, her voice strong and determined. It's all evidence, Jessica. She got to work, gathering everything we needed. Then I made a call I never thought I'd have to make. Hello, is this the office of Diane Morgan? I need to speak with her about a domestic abuse case. A little while later, Olivia returned, looking pleased. Got it all, the medical records, staff statements, and that lovely recording of Lisa and Janet plotting, she said. I took a deep breath and looked at her. Olivia, I've made a decision. I'm leaving Noah. She looked at me gently. Are you sure? Yes. I have to for my baby's safety and for my own peace. Just then, Noah walked back into the room, looking nervous. Jessica, can we talk? Mom wants to come and apologize, he said, sounding hesitant. No, Noah, we can't talk, I replied firmly. And no, she can't come. I'm done. Noah looked shocked. What do you mean? I mean I'm leaving, I said, feeling a wave of calm wash over me. I can't be part of this family anymore, Noah, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. It's not safe for me or our child. Noah's face was a mix of confusion and pain. But Jessica, we can work this out. Maybe it was all just a misunderstanding. Olivia, standing beside me with a firm expression, interrupted him. She said she's done, Noah. You need to respect that, she said, her tone unwavering. Noah looked stunned as he slowly left the room, the door closing softly behind him. I felt a mixture of sadness and relief wash over me. Leaving wouldn't be easy, and I knew the road ahead would be tough. But for the first time in days, I felt a small spark of hope. Turning to Olivia, I whispered, "What now?" She gave me a determined smile. "Now we get you somewhere safe, and then we make sure they face the consequences." Months passed, and I was now 6 months pregnant, living with Olivia in her cozy apartment. My baby bump was obvious, a constant reminder of why I was fighting so hard to stay strong and keep moving forward. One morning, as I was waddling around the apartment, Olivia handed me a glass of water. "Ready for court today?" she asked. I nodded, feeling both nervous and determined. As ready as I'll ever be. The courtroom was crowded, and I could see Noah and his family seated on the opposite side. Lisa looked smug, but I knew that expression wouldn't last long. Our lawyer, Diane, was fierce and prepared, ready to present the evidence we'd gathered. Diane began to go over everything carefully. She explained my medical records, presented statements from hospital staff, and then added, "Your Honor, I'd like to present audio evidence of the defendants plotting to cover up their actions." Lisa and Janet's faces turned pale as their voices played over the courtroom speakers. The audio captured Lisa talking about the accident and Janet supporting her. Noah looked shocked, as if he had been punched in the gut. Then the judge's voice rang out, addressing Lisa. "Mrs. Thompson, you pushed your daughter-in-law down a flight of stairs, endangering both her life and that of her unborn child. How do you plead?" Lisa, visibly shaken, stammered, "It was an accident. I didn't mean." The judge held up a hand. "Save it for your lawyer, Mrs. Thompson. You are facing charges of assault and endangering an unborn child." During a break, Noah approached me, looking worn and regretful. "Jessica, I had no idea," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so sorry. Can we please talk?" For a moment, I felt a hint of pity, but then I remembered those painful days in the hospital, his doubt, his silence, his choice to believe his mother over me. I took a deep breath. "No, Noah, your apology means nothing. You chose them over me and our child. There's no coming back from that." His face crumpled, but I stayed strong. I had a future and a child to protect now. Later, as we waited for the judge's final decision, I held my breath. The judge's gavel struck, loud and final. In the matter of Thompson versus Thompson, this court rules in favor of the plaintiff, Mrs. Jessica Thompson. She is granted a divorce, full custody of the unborn child, and a settlement of $700,000 for emotional damages and medical expenses. I let out a long, relieved breath, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. The fight was finally over. Now, I could look forward to a fresh start, free from the judgment and doubt of Noah's family. I had a future to rebuild, for myself and my baby, and I knew that this was only the beginning. I hadn't realized I was holding my breath until it was finally over. We had won. Now, 3 years later, I'm standing in my living room, blowing up balloons for my daughter Lily's 3rd birthday. She's my little warrior, born against all odds, now toddling around with the sweetest babbles and laughter. As I set up the decorations, Olivia walks in, arms loaded with presents. "Where's the birthday girl?" "Annie Olivia's got some goodies," she says with a big grin. Lily squeals with joy and hurries over to her, clapping her tiny hands in excitement. Watching Lily's delight, I can't help but think about how much has changed since those hard days. Today, I'm running my own small marketing business. I've turned my pain and past struggles into a mission to help others who have gone through hard times, too. Through my work, I help other survivors share their stories and find strength in speaking up. It's rewarding to know that my own journey can make a difference. Lisa, Noah's mother, is serving her sentence now. It turns out that pushing a pregnant woman down the stairs has real consequences in the eyes of the law. Justice was served, and I found my peace, moving forward without the fear and negativity she brought into my life. More friends arrive as the party fills the house with laughter, warmth, and love. These friends have become my family, the family I chose. Looking around at everyone here, I feel so grateful to have these people by my side. As the party winds down, I carry a sleepy Lily up to her room and gently tuck her into bed. I stroke her hair and whisper, "Happy birthday, my brave girl. The world is yours." In that quiet moment, I realize that the world is mine again, too. This life I have now is a fresh start, hard-earned and fiercely protected. I know that whatever challenges come next, Lily and I can handle them together. We've already been through so much and come out stronger. Before I go, I want to ask you something. If you had been in my shoes, would you have given Noah a second chance? Was I too harsh when I turned down his apology, or was I right to protect myself and my daughter from future harm? It's not an easy situation, and everyone may feel differently. What would you have done? Share your thoughts below. Your perspective might just help someone facing a similar choice. And if you found this story meaningful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps others find these stories and learn from real-life experiences. And if you'd like to hear more, don't forget to subscribe. Your support means everything as we keep sharing stories that matter. Thank you for being part of this journey with us.